All right, here we are. We are live on the Home Service Expert Podcast. Today I got Emma, Nate, and Ty with me. They are my niece and two nephews. And what we started to do is a book club. I wanted these guys to start learning at a decent age. They started out with probably one of the hardest books ever called Green Eggs and Green Ham. No, I'm kidding. But we started out with a book. We started a book club. They get $400 each if they could quiz out of the book. But today we're not going to do a really fancy quiz. We're just going to talk about a book. And the first book they read was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And if you guys don't mind, tell me what you learned from the first book. We've already done the quizzes. You guys already got your money. We're going to talk about the new book. But tell me your first lesson that you learned. We'll start with you, Ty. What did you learn about the book by Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
I learned that buying assets that can grow over time is the best way to put your money into.
Good answer. I like it. All right, Nate, what about you?
Yeah, I think the main takeaway I took away from the book was that focus on buying appreciating assets more than the depreciating ones, because the more you buy a depreciating asset, it's just going to take away your money. But if you focus on buying an appreciating asset, you'll get the money over time either way. So, yeah.
And save your money. What else, Emma?
Well, I was kind of the same. I guess assets put money into your pocket, liabilities take money out. And so I thought that simple piece of advice was really important, because I think a lot of people get confused, or they don't value that just simple piece of advice of just putting your money into things that'll grow versus.
Do you guys think my DeLorean will go up or down in value?
Down.
It should go up in value.
Yeah, I think it would.
So Ty is 15, Nate's 16, Emma's 18. She's getting ready to go to college. These guys really want to earn $400 today, so let's listen. We're going to go over the book. It's a quick, easy book. It's called Go for No. What is it? What is the main title here? What is it about?
Yes is the destination, and no is how you get there. So it's basically just people sometimes will focus just on the final end goal, the success that comes with it. But I think this book really highlighted that rejection and the word no is part of the process. It's part of the journey of getting to success. So yeah, I think that was probably the most important thing. And desensitizing yourself to the word no and just putting yourself out there and not avoiding that rejection is so important.
Yeah, that's really good, Emma. In the subtitle, it says, do you want to achieve success? If the answer is yes, then you need to get more no's. This book is how to show you why and how. And it's by Richard Fenton and Andrea Waltz. What I'll tell you guys is I buy this book for every single new technician and installer that starts at the company. So I've bought 1,000 of these books. And by the way, to the listeners out there that I love, it's a very easy book to read. Even Tyler could read it. No, I'm kidding. So this idea, go for no, what does it mean to you, Nate?
What it means to me is I think when most people think of going for no, it's I guess when people are in sales, they go for all the yeses. So let's say you get 10 no's, but in those 10 no's, you got 5 yeses. So what it means to me is if you go for 20 no's, you'll get 10 yeses. That's what I take away. So when somebody goes for 5 yeses, after those 5 yeses, are you going to continue to push for more yeses? No. After those 10 no's, you're going to push for more no's because you get the yeses along the way.
I like that. So basically what you're saying is, and he emphasizes this in the book, is instead of going, if your quota in sales is to get 5 sales, instead of going for 5 sales, go for 10 no's for each sale you get. And if you go for more no's, you'll be way more productive. A lot of people get lazy, and they say, once I hit my goal. But if you go for no, you get more comfortable with rejection. I'm just going to give a little highlight before I ask you, Ty. So the book is about this guy. He meets he bumps his head, he goes unconscious, and he meets a different version of himself. And you guys know I sold women's shoes at Dillard's when I was younger, so I could talk about this. He talks to his other self, and the other self is wealthy, very wealthy. His wife's wealthy. Their whole life is different. And he says, what changed? Where was the big thing in our lives that caused this space continuum difference in our lives. And he goes, well, you remember when we set a record that day at the department store? This guy walks in and he buys the nicest belt, the nicest shoes, buys a few shirts, a jacket, and he spent a couple grand. And he goes, yeah, I remember that day. He goes, you remember what the manager said to us? And he goes, yeah, we set a record that day. But he said, why didn't you sell more? The guy would have bought more. He only spent $2,000. The guy would have spent 20 grand. And he goes, what do you mean? We set a record. $2,000 was the most anybody ever spent in the store. But he goes, did you go for no? He goes, you could have offered him. There's nothing he wouldn't have bought. So a lot of people, one of the things I tell people, do you think it's okay to sell things people don't need? Ty, what do you think? Do you think it's okay to sell things people don't need?
Yeah.
It's a trick question.
I think it's okay to sell people things that like they don't need. If it's like, if they're willing to buy it, then like they could keep spending more to get what they like wanted until they say no.
So on all these little Facebook groups, other than the one that we're on right now, a lot of losers say, we only sell things people need. And I say, I sell things people want. No one needs a cell phone app to open their garage door, or a new bottom rubber, or an opener that's whisper quiet, or a beautiful garage door like you guys have on your house. But you guys wanted it, so you bought it. No one needs a new cell phone if your old iPhone's working. So this idea of only selling things people need, so you go for no, you keep going till the client decides when they've had enough. And too many people sell out of their own pocket. Too many people say, I would never buy that, so they never offer it. Let me ask you a true or false question, Emma. This book teaches that hearing the word no is a sign of failure.
No, like it's false, because you should hear the word no, because that means that you're like pushing yourself to get more sales. And I mean, the only way to the only way that you can be successful really is to put yourself out there and to desensitize yourself to the word no. And yeah, I guess.
I love it. What do you want to go to college? You're getting ready to go to Madison, school out there in Madison, not far from where you live in Milwaukee. I think it's a great school. What are your plans in the future?
Well, I'm planning on studying business or economics, and then I want to like do something in business. I'm not really 100% sure of what yet, but I'd probably want to try starting a business at some point, or learning how to invest in different businesses. And I love just like trying to grow ones too, and like how like strategies to grow them, stuff like that.
Nate, what would be a great number for you if you just had to throw a number out where you were like, man, that would be I'd be done working.
Done working?
You'd be like, man, I'm on cloud 9. I'm done. I'm good.
Like,
if you had to pick a number where you're like the internal rate of return is so strong that you're just like, I could just fade into the sunset.
I mean, it'd be pretty high for any number.
I mean, look, a number that's realistic that you think if you hit, you'd feel that way, that it would be like, I'm done. I'm good. I'm going to relax now.
I don't really know. It would depend on what my current situation is. Because if I love my work, then I don't know if I would want to stop. If I don't like my work, but I got enough money, it'd probably be in the higher millions if I don't have to worry about money.
Yeah, lots of millions.
Lots of millions. But if I wouldn't really want to stop if I love what I'm doing.
So everybody asks me, I do these shop tours. If you go to TommyMello.com/shop, you could come here on a shop tour. It doesn't cost any money. Got a little promo in there, even though I do it for free and do it because I love to help people. They come here and they're like, why do you still come here every day? Like, you don't really have to. We know a lot of smaller companies that they're out traveling, going to Europe, living their best lives. And I say, when I set up my org chart, I circled all the things I hated. I hate payroll. I hate accounts receivable. I don't really like a lot of things in the business. So I hired the greatest people for those roles. And I decided it felt like going to work when I had to do that stuff. I really don't like firing people unless they lie, cheat, or steal. Then it's easy to make that decision. So I just, when I come to work, I have the best time ever because I get to do the stuff I love. So that's what I'd help you. if you guys ever find yourselves, but guess what? It takes hard work to get to that point. It took 15 years. Your mom and I were walking this morning, and she said she's been listening to a lot of podcasts about how to make kids into more entrepreneurial. And she said, the biggest thing is when they fail, don't swoop in and help them. Let them get through, make these decisions, and get through it on their own. That really enables them. What do you think, Ty? You think mom has the capability to let you fail?
Yeah, I think she lets us fail just like so we can learn from our failure. Like I think learning from your failure is one of the biggest things that like parents need to let you do. Like I think when you learn from failure, you'll learn that like doing it again will cause you to fail again. So if you learn from your failure, you should succeed in the end, do that.
What if I told you a mistake made more than once is a choice? So a lot of people make the same mistake over and over again. That's called insanity. Describe a situation, Emma, where seeking no could actually help you grow.
Seeking no can help you grow. Well, I think in sales, if you're trying to sell something, even just if you're working a job like in the service industry or something like that, just asking them, would you like a new garage door part with that? If they say no, then you know that you're not the one closing the sale. They're the one closing the sale for you. Because if you never hear no, especially like the story that you told when the guy came in and he bought all that stuff and kept saying yes, yes, yes. If you never heard no, then you close the sale. So I think even just in those situations, going for no, it can help you get so much more, and you are just selling so much more money, I guess.
I like it. Nate, if you have you ever been to Mexico?
No.
Have you ever been to like a third world country?
Yeah.
So have you ever noticed that the kids will come up to you and they're fearless. They got blankets. They'll come up and they'll sell you almost anything. And do you think they ever go back to their parents and cry when you say no?
Not at all.
Do you think that do you think they say they look down at themselves in the mirror and say, "I'm such a loser"?
No.
Do you think they care at all?
Not at all.
There's a reason why so many different ethnicities that come to the United States succeed is because the rejection does not make them feel like they're a bad person. It doesn't make them look down on themselves, doesn't make them cry to mom and dad. They literally, when you're at the mall and the girl that comes from Uruguay want to put lotion on your hands, she'll follow you from that little booth for 100 yards to put lotion on your hands to get the sale. And if you say no, she does not take it personal. And I think the problem is with Americans is we take things so personally. Mm-hmm. You know, what do you think? You live in a pretty good neighborhood. Do you think a lot of your buddies would be in sales and be afraid of no? I think most people would be.
Yeah. There's a couple of my friends where they have certain traits where they just won't stop until you say yes. But most people that I know, they're afraid of the no, and they're afraid of like what other people will think of them if they like fail. So that's definitely like a big part of like our society, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good point. People are afraid of what people think of them. And I noticed that a lot of people try to keep up with the Joneses. You guys watch Shark Tank, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know Robert Durkovich? He sits on the right side up there on the panel. He said, when I had a G6 and I started making it the plane, a G4, he said, all I wanted was a G6. He goes, and when I got a Bentley, all I wanted was something nicer. And he goes, my whole life was built off of comparison. Comparing to people that were more wealthy, or maybe had a better relationship with their wife, or maybe had a better relationship with their parents, or maybe was closer to God. And he goes, now I've realized that it was really just, it's a competition with myself. And I just, when I pass away, when I'm on my deathbed, I just want to say I did everything I could. Because comparison is the thief of all joy. I've done pretty well. And if I compare myself to Mark Zuckerberg or Mark Cuban, I'm a fart in the wind. I'm nothing. So, you know, you're best you are today. I always say I'm the best I've ever been, but the worst I'll ever be, because tomorrow I'm going to be a little bit better. Ty, what are your goals here? You're right now you're 15, I'm sorry, and you got a couple more years of school. What are your plans going into the future?
So right now I just got my first job. I'm planning to save my money, put it into investments, and then further in the future I plan on getting more like real world experience and jobs, and then going into college, I'm planning on learning business. And after college, I'm planning on like trying to like go into the business world, like start like figuring out how to start businesses, starting to learn from other people because I feel like that's like an important aspect. Learning from people that can have like higher knowledge than you. Just surround yourself with like people that like know more than you, so you can learn from them.
What about you, Nate?
Well, right now I'm actually learning how to start my own website design agency, and I'm on like the beginner stages of it. So I'm kind of interested in like the whole marketing world of business. So what I would be doing is calling businesses that needed a website. Say, hey, I can design your website, but I can also optimize it for you. So that's the marketing aspect. That's something I'm really interested in. And moving on, I also want to do business school and college and potentially start my own HVAC company. That's something I'm super interested in, just like intern places where there's already big HVAC companies. So just learn from that, build my experience, and with this website design agency, I think it's gonna teach me. Well, I'm gonna get a lot of no's. It's gonna like teach me that no is okay. It's not a personal attack from the person, and if I just keep pushing past that failure point, then I'm gonna succeed one way or another.
Why do you? So let's go over this real quick. You call somebody up. I'm just curious because I haven't heard this idea yet. By the way, I would be asking ChatGPT and using Google and using all the other AI systems out there to find jobs that aren't going away in the next 4 to 5 years with AI. We know home services and home improvement are one of the best places. Everybody and their brother is talking about it. Everybody I know in software is talking about starting an HVAC company. Everybody I know in real estate is saying there's drastic changes coming. I mean, now you look at the buyer's agent, the commissions are cut. So I would say be very careful. But let's hear, when you call somebody up, how are you going to convince them? I mean, you're 16. What are you going to say you specialize in? What is going to be the sales pitch?
So what I'll say to them is, I noticed you don't have a website. I specialize in websites that are proven to, well, when I get more experience, are proven to turn over more revenue. And I'm going to say, if they say, no, we don't need a website, I'm like, okay, I talk to a lot of businesses that say that. And I'm going to say, well, how are your revenues looking right now? Do you think you could increase that with a website? Say, yes, we could possibly increase that. It's like, okay, well, here, I have this special package for you. You don't need to go fully in. I can show you my platform. I can show you my design, and we can discuss it. You have 15 minutes later in the day, and I can go over this template I made. Say, yeah, sure. So I make that as like, so I also say, well, that's a one-time purchase. A website, I'll sell it for maybe $500. That's a one-time purchase. I'm not making money over time. So I could also offer. We also host and maintenance. Now that's money that you make monthly. So I could charge
Monthly reoccurring revenue.
yeah,
baby.
reoccurring revenue. So I say, I'll hosting maintenance. That's $100 a month. Now I'm making that $500 sale plus $100 each month. And once I have 10 clients, I can say, well, I'll just double my prices. And now if I lose 5 of those clients, now I still have 5, but I'm making the same amount of money that I was making earlier. So it gives me more room to grow while making a lot more money. And that's how, at scaling, I'm pretty sure. I'm not too familiar and all that. But
So here, let's role play, and I'll be you, and you're the company. Okay. So, hey, Mr. Jones, how are you today? My name's Nate. Just calling you real quick. I know you know my father. Because first you use everybody you know, every connection. If you ever learn how to do inside sales, they say call your family first. Call your friends. Call the people you know from church. So you say, I know you know my dad. I know you know my mom. I noticed you didn't have a website. So I say, I noticed you didn't have a website. Can I ask you a few questions?
mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
So, Mr. Jones, is there a reason? Have you ever tried a website in the past?
No, I've not.
Is there a reason that you feel like a website wouldn't be beneficial?
No, we just haven't spent a lot of time looking into websites.
Do you think that your product would be better marketed on a website, or do you just feel like it wouldn't make a difference in sales for you?
I think it definitely would be more beneficial for sales. But
If you were to build a website, what would you like it? What would be some critical things that you would need on this website?
critical things, I just need like something that can get people on the website and stay on the website. That's what I would probably look for in a website.
Product details, a way to order them. Do you want it to be more e-commerce where they can order it online, or do you want them to just make the phone call to your website?
Probably more online. It makes it easier that way.
So how about this, Mr. Jones? What if I built you a website for free, and once it hits a certain amount of sales per week, you buy it from me on one condition? If I'm going to put in all this work up front, I want you to pay me a reoccurring fee for the first 2 years. And I'd rather do it the way the harder I work, the more I make. So if I put in the time, energy, focus, and money into this site and get you selling more, would you be willing to share a little piece of those sales with me to where you're still making a lot more money than I am, but at least my hard work gets me something for that?
Absolutely. I would have to see some of your work in the past. I'd have to see some of your, maybe some videos, some other people that have you've designed for, so I can get a little bit of sense of what your websites are made of. But
I mean, as long as we use your template, your website, your logos, the right colors, and you approve the artwork on there, obviously we want to make you look like an affluent company. But other than that, there's no way to lose here.
yeah, absolutely. I think we can definitely look into that.
Okay. Well, listen, I look forward to working with you. I'll get started with it, and we appreciate doing business with you.
Yeah, no problem.
So that would be the way I do it, especially if you learn how to turn these things out, because right now AI could build a website fairly quickly.
Yeah.
The difference is what I would do, if you listen to anybody good, they'll tell you, like, if I were to start over again, you know what I would do? And I heard this from a buddy of mine, so this isn't my own content, but you go in, there's a few cars that sell the most every single year that are super affordable. So you go through OfferUp, you go through Craigslist, you go online, and you find these cars and you make 40 offers, lowball offers. Out of 40, one might say yes. You go in, you detail the car, you clean it up, you change the oil. I mean, I bought and sold over 1,000 cars. And you sell that car for a lot more money because it's the highest selling car. You know you're going to sell it. It looks like it's taken care of. You make a good amount of money. So what I would do is I'd look for people that need websites that don't have websites. I'd go into a niche. I'd specialize. And I say, none of these people have websites. It'd be easy to take domain authority, and it would be very, very simple to get a lot of sales on this rather than being a one-size-fits-all. Sure, I'll build you an air conditioning website. Oh, you sell bubblegum. Sure, I'll sell you bubblegum websites. Oh, you do video creation. No, you just specialize in one thing. That way it's cookie cutter. You could build it for 1,000 people. You build the first one, then you just throw a different skin on the site.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I was actually planning on doing. So it depends on what I actually want to look into. If I do landscaping, thing about landscaping, it's like a lot of it's word of mouth. Some companies say, well, I don't need a website. All my stuff is word of mouth. But it would just have to be something that I could look into and find that niche. But
see, I don't like you know what I like for you is you guys are on TikTok and Instagram a lot, like basically everybody your age is. What if you just went out with the landscaper and took videos with them and threw them on the website, and that got virality? Because you guys know what you guys watch. I watch the landscapers take a really ugly mess of a house and then they clean it up and make it beautiful. I think there's something there because most people, old timers, baby boomers, first of all, they don't know how to edit videos. They don't even know how to get client testimonials. They don't know how to ask for reviews. So I think it can be very discouraging to go into a business and not get any yeses. So you want to have an offer that everybody says yes to. It's a no-brainer. So just think about that. Emma, so tell me a little bit. You don't really like to go party very much, from what I understand. You study a lot. I think you've got a perfect grade point average. What is it?
Like a 4.2.
4.2. And Madison's known for, they, like every school, you could go out and you could find the partiers, you could find the people that study hard. What is your goal over the next 4 years once you get into school?
I kind of want to have like a balance because I want to like meet people who work hard they study a lot and they're very motivated. But at the same time, I want to kind of have an aspect of my life that's more social and like I don't have to be partying all the time, but still going out, like having fun with my friends. And like that way I have like kind of two type of people, like two social groups where it's like there's the people that really motivate me, but there's also like the side of me that's like having more fun and stuff. And I think both can be really valuable because I guess one of my goals also is to become more like social in the way where it's like, I don't know, I want to be good at like sales. I want to get better at like convincing people and that type of things. Because I can study and I can get good grades, but at the same time, I think being a very convincing person and charismatic and stuff, I think that's also really important.
You know, one of the things you could practice without anybody is eye contact, tonality, being positive in the words you use. One of the things when I meet somebody, I look at how much they believe in themselves, and that's simply by looking at someone in the darkest part of their pupils and smiling. And if you practice smiling more and you sit still, and not, this is tough. This is the first time you guys have done this, so it's not today. But as you practice your tone and your authority and the way you believe in yourself, people actually, if I went on stage and I said, hey, like, guys, thank you for being here today. That doesn't go well. Mm-hmm. So being very transparent in the way you speak, the words we use. Don't say the cheapest, say the most affordable or the builder grade. Don't say the most expensive, say this is top tier. The simple words, don't say the cost, say the investment. So remember that, my dad and a lot of people that have retired always told me when I was a kid, if I knew, kid, what I know now at your age, I would have been invincible. And you know what they were talking about? Is they wouldn't have feared no. They would have asked the girl to the prom. They would have not been afraid of rejection. They wouldn't have cared what their friends would have said if a girl said no because the next girl's going to say yes. So I want to just tell you guys my superpower is that I'm the most curious guy on the planet, and I'm always asking for help. I don't care. I'm never going to be arrived. I don't care how successful I might be. I'm always the most curious person in the room, and I implement quickly. My favorite 3 letters are ASK. My grandfather and my dad, they were men's men. They'd go in the wrong direction 40 miles, and they wouldn't ask for directions because it was stupid to ask for directions. That meant they failed. So just always keep this idea of asking for somebody, and be very careful who you ask. Because if you ask the wrong person, it could take you down the wrong place fast. So the idea of recognizing people's success leaves clues. And I don't care. It's not only about finances. It's about faith. It's about family. It's about having fun. It's about fitness, taking care of yourselves. And it's really about your future self, which is, are you reading? Are you doing the right stuff? So the next book that we are going to go over, let me think for a second. I've got a couple. How about we do Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich? It's a longer book. We'll do Think and Grow Rich. And we'll do the same thing we did, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. I don't care if you guys listen to it. I think there's a movie on it now. And there's the Napoleon Hill Institute. I've been on the podcast. But I'm going to let you guys close us out on anything you want to talk about. Maybe it's your future. Maybe it's ideas. Maybe it has something to do for Go for No. But Emma, I'll let you start. We'll finish with Ty.
I just think that like Go for No, it had so many great messages. Like one of them was about courage, and it was like, courage isn't the absence of fear. It's doing something even though you might fear it. So I think that was really important because a lot of people, they just avoid that rejection and will never go for no. And so I think that piece of advice about courage was really important.
And how are you going to apply this in the next week in your life?
In the next week, maybe I'll just try to put myself out there. Like if there's a moment where I'm thinking like, oh, I'm too nervous to do something. Like I was nervous to come on this podcast, but even though it's out of my comfort zone, another thing that was a part of the book that he said was the comfort zone is never static. It's always expanding or retracting. So always doing something that's out of your comfort zone is really important. So I think something, I don't know, I'll probably do something that's.
Yeah. No, I like that. Like talking on stage for my first time was nerve-wracking. And now it's like I don't even worry about it. It's like if you don't like me, shame on you, not shame on me. I don't really care. I'm comfortable now. But it's like a muscle you got to flex over and over. Once you flex them, it doesn't really bother you. And they say stage fright, getting on stage, is a bigger fear than dying. And dying is the biggest fear most people have other than speaking on stage. Nate, what about you? What are your final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Well, I'm reading a book called The Courage to Be Disliked.
Yeah, that's a great book.
It's a great book. If I could recommend a book, I'd read that one. And it just talks about having the courage to like not really care about what the other person is thinking. It's not about comparison. It's just all about like whatever you do, don't care about what the other person thinks of you. If you want to go chase your dreams, go chase them. If you want to go ask out that girl, go ask them. It doesn't matter. You have to have the courage to do something. If you don't have the courage, you're not going to do anything, and you're going to end up sitting in your room being scared of what everyone else thinks of you. So I think it's the main way to move on and forward your life is just have courage to do something.
Yeah, I'll tell you guys is I love everybody I grew up with. They're still some of my great friends, but you don't get a choice when you're young. It's your neighbors. It's the people you go to school with. As you grow, you got college, and then you move maybe to a new city, and then you start to develop your own personality that you kind of attract what you put out there. And what's so important to you right now is showing off in front of your buddies or maybe that girl, and like these things don't matter at all. And when you realize that, you're like, man, I'm going to go out there. When I moved when I was 16 to Arizona, I wanted to get residency to go to ASU. And I love everybody back home. They're still great, great friends. But it's crazy what I was able to develop by just being very intentional with who I hung out with. And it's something I've never perfected. It's something that I try to work on every day because the closest people to me are who I become more like. And the books that I'm reading are who I become more like. So just know if I hung out with people that just every night drank themselves to sleep, there was a good chance that I would be doing that. And if I was to potentially cheat on Bree and I was not loyal to her, there's a good chance, that everybody around me wouldn't be loyal to their girlfriend or boyfriend. So it's a trait that you tend to just condone it when you're around it. So be careful who you let in because it's important now who your friends are. You grow up with them, your best friends. Some of them are going to stay there. But as you start to grow, be intentional who you choose. Ty, what are your final thoughts?
I think it's important that we're reading all these books that you're giving to us. I think it gives you knowledge about what to do in life. I've learned that going for no is one way to live your life and expand it. Being able to accept rejection but then learn from it and move forward. I think that's a big part. Everyone nowadays in America, your friends, most people are scared of getting rejected, which is not good. And if you learn from your friends, as you were saying, your friends will influence you to be scared of rejection. And I think that's not a good way to look at it. Being scared of rejection is one way that you would just not be able to do anything in life. If you're scared of rejection, that means you are failing. If you exceed rejection and you learn from it, that means you can end up succeeding in life.
Well, I got a deal for all three of you guys. Are you ready for my deal?
Yeah.
Now, we got to work out the details. But if you're willing to do a summer program, and it's not just 1 or 2 days, it would be a full season, and you can still do it in college, and you do a door-to-door job, I'll give you $5,000 when you got to make it a week, and then I'll give you $5,000 at the end. So you each make $10,000. So you got to do door-to-door sales, meaning you got to knock on doors, and you talk about the ultimate rejection is knocking on doors and have people peek out and go, who are you and why are you here? So if you guys get in the door-to-door program, we'll work it out with mom and dad, and I'll pay you guys generously, but I think that'll make you guys look way different at the world, and it'll skip you ahead a decade in your lives because that is the ultimate. I went one day in my Scottsdale house. You guys have been there, the house that Dad's at. And I just wanted to invite 20 neighbors to the party, my moving in party in 2012. And that was like, I was like, hello. And they were like, we don't want anything. What are you here? And I'm like, I'm just your neighbor. And it was like, I was like, but if you get good at that, you could almost handle anything. So you go to the top tier of rejection, and then it's easy. Then everything becomes easy. So I really appreciate you guys doing this. I know this is awkward and odd for you, but the more you practice, the more we're on here, the better it'll be. I love you guys. Thanks for coming on. Thank you guys for hanging out. Look, this is something you should be thinking about if you've got a niece or nephews, kids, grandkids, whatever it is. Get them involved. Have them read Rich Dad, Poor Dad and go for no. It'll be a game changer. Thanks for paying attention today.